going to bring back all our former guests here for a roundtable, about 10-minute roundtable discussion, where really I would like to recede into the background because you all are the industry leaders, and to hear what you can learn from each other or what you're curious to learn from the data folks or the solutions provider. I think that's a fascinating discussion. Tim, what have you learned from going through this?
Well, I think what both Joe and Marc said, I have new faith and appreciation and respect for the owners, especially guys like the two of them that have built their new arena like that. So look, all of us from guys and girls that are building arenas to Jaime taking over an organization, this is tough. Marc's right. This is not easy to do, but it's good to see there's a lot of smart people in our industry that are thinking about solutions, trying to activate solutions like Clear and Jerome and what he's trying to do there. I have great faith for the future because I don't like the alternative very much.
Jaime, what do you want to know from one of the owners of the Milwaukee Bucks or the Golden State Warriors? We have some pretty good track record of success there. What can you glean from them?
Well, I think I'm lucky that many of these teams already reached out to offer support to be able to start to work with them on best practices. I think that's going to be the key, is all of us working together to share best practices as quickly as possible so that we can get our venues into states where people want to come back, where fans are back to having the same experience they had before. So I think if anything, it's going to pull a lot of us across leagues, not just within clubs that are within the same leagues, to come together and work as a group and a team to pull this off.
Yeah, Marc and Joe, you guys know there's a Teambo group at the NBA, Team of Business Operations. That's sort of a best practices group. It sounds like that may not be sufficient for the industry, that there needs to be cross-league, cross-entertainment, a Teambo in sports and entertainment, so that perhaps you can all share resources and get to some solutions faster. It sounds like an interesting idea.
I thought that was Tim Leiweke.
That sounds like the Arena Alliance to me, Scott.
Well, how many arenas you have? 20-something still?
29, including both these gentlemen and that new leader there in Chicago. So we're proud that all three of them are partners with us.
Great. Tell me about those discussions. Who meets? How often do you meet? And what's being discussed? And why is that the way to go?
Well, it's not a fail-safe solution. It's part of the solution, but we do get together to talk about what we're doing in Washington, D.C. for the live entertainment industry. So we are one of the voices, one of the few voices our industry has collectively for arenas in particular. We do work on our occasionally we'll bring in our smart guys on the engineering side and bore everybody to death for 3 hours worth of conversations on airflow and air handling and what we're doing there. So it has worked well that we as a group do have 29 of us that can come together, share ideas, talk about what we're trying to do, and in particular get focused on how we have a voice. This, I cannot emphasize how critical it's going to be, Scott, that we create confidence back in the consumer for coming back into our arenas here when music and sports returns.
Well, I think that's where Jessica Gelman comes in that she is doing the outreach to tell you what the consumer sentiment is. How much are you guys looking at the data, particularly Jaime? You mentioned it earlier, but you need to know what they want, right? You have to give the customer what they want.
I'm not sure if my mic is working. Is it working?
Yeah, we can hear you, Jess.
Oh, hey, sorry. I missed the question, so I apologize.
I guess now the question is, if you have to restore confidence, step one is to know what the customers want. You're providing great value. I mean, you have to deep down dig and understand what the customers want. And they are telling you, it seems overwhelmingly, that they want to make sure that people are tested. They want to make sure that people are vaccinated. They want to make sure distancing. They want to see the precautions in place. And that's not the easiest endeavor.
Well, there's been a lot of examples already of fans being at venues, and the positive finding so far is that there hasn't been spread from that, at least known or documented and communicated in a meaningful way. And so the learnings that can be shared there are very significant. And the main stuff that we really heard about is the seat reconfiguration. So I really appreciated Tim's feedback around airflow, and Marc mentioned it too. I loved what Joe had to say about testing upon entry. But a really important part is going to be, are there actual meaningful changes that need to be made inside the venue with respect to seats? And is that a short-term fix that needs to be made for a long-term kind of having more people come? So whether that's doing some more tarping than expected, especially in 2021, that's a potential to ease comfort. I've gone to the doctor's office and they just put tape over seats to ensure that you're not sitting within 10 feet. And that's what a lot of teams are doing in venues as well. But there's some missed marketing opportunity. So I think it's going to be the communication from the teams of how they're handling it, and also, frankly, potentially removing fans that aren't following the protocols.
Yeah, let me just add into this a little bit. Look, until we get everybody vaccinated and people feel really safe, there's going to be a period like we're in, well, say in a few months from now just starting, where we're going to social distancing, which is what separation of seats is about, is important. But I firmly believe, and we firmly believe, as the months roll out, as the vaccine gets distributed, it still is going to be a while, okay? Could be 6 months, could be summer, could be end of year. I don't know. I'm hoping it gets done faster. But I think there are 3 ways to mitigate risk and to keep people feeling safe, and the demand is there. They want to come. We've done the surveys, and Tim has done the surveys. Everybody wants to come. I mean, a major percentage of our fans. But basically, airflow, ventilation, masking, and testing. Those are the 3 things that you can do. You can do them. They cost money, the testing in particular. But it's worth it if you can fill an arena. My expectation is I'm going to try like hell to get half of our arena and then all of our arena done as soon as possible. And I'm willing to do it before the vaccine is completely out there, because completely is a different question. When are they going to be satisfied? Those that look at these things. And, it's a different answer in different places. So testing is something we can do. I have a quantitative risk assessment model that I've put together with UCSF and the leading epidemiologist there. And I can share that with anybody on this call. If you guys want to, Marc, or any of you guys, well, I'll share this. But we're presenting it to the city and the state, and shows you if you do those 3 things at a certain level, you can make the venue safer than going to the local grocery store. Absolutely 100% safer, okay? It's not perfect, but it's as close to perfect as possible if you test. And we may need to do that on an interim basis. That's
what's the response. What's the response from public health officials locally when you say that?
They don't even understand what we're talking about. I mean, to be honest, I'm not being critical. I get in trouble here. I got to be careful. I don't want to get them mad at me.
No, go ahead.
But they don't really. They're starting to, but they didn't even know what a rapid PCR test was when I proposed it. And there's only a few of them out there. Okay, and that's the highest level accuracy. And their volumes are starting to ramp up now. So it is available, and there'll be more and more of them over the next few months. But they're starting to. We're having more conversations. We're having open dialogue. And the city and the state, we think in the next month or 2, we're going to start to really get some headway in that regard. And I think you'll hear about it.
Scott, I think it's a really great point what Joe is talking about, which is the dealing with the government of the local, and then more broadly, is one of the biggest challenges that all the teams are going to be facing, and the time that is required for them to do that. It is like they have to make all these changes to support the fans, which is what we've been talking about. But then it's the presentations and educating and staying ahead of what is actually happening. It's very challenging.
Well, this was not challenging for me to moderate this sort of discussion, because we have the leaders of the industry who are passionate, who clearly want the fans back in their buildings and want it done safely, and they're looking for solutions. I love, of course, the Arena Alliance, Tim. I love the collective search, maybe broaden it wider, the cooperation among leagues and teams, maybe an unprecedented thing, but it'll get everybody where we want to be. So thank you all for taking part. We really do appreciate it. And we'll let you know that the next Sportico Live will be February 25th. And I think you'll all love this, because we're looking at SPACs. Who doesn't want more SPAC information? So February 25th, Sportico Live, looking at SPACs. So again, thank you all for taking part. I think the folks who tuned in, they learned something, and they digested it in an entertaining way. So thank you all.